We're going on an adventure today because, in case last week wasn't enough nature, I'm going to have a lot more feelings about nature this week. Yay! Also, yes, for the purposes of this video, I am in casual satyr cosplay. Everyone expects this. Gora's going to be slightly embarrassed by me. The wild. Gora, as much as you care about these wonderful cities that you've been showing me, I know too that you are as invested as I am, at least, in sustainability and in taking care of the wild spaces that we have left. Our shared home that I haven't left yet. The stars are bright, the woodlands thrive, but I hear the neighbors shooting their guns. What's left of the wild, really? Even this last little slice of woods I walk in almost every day is made as much by man as it is by roots and loam and water and sky. I'm not some fanatic that's gonna renounce AC, but I'm also beginning to suspect that my soul is in the trees and the rivers and the stones, that I will wither when I can no longer see the stars. I thought maybe that if I remembered everything I loved about these places on camera, that I would be able to leave and start somewhere new. And I still think maybe that's true, that that's what I'm trying to do, but also that I'm always going to have to come back. This is a place where Rosalila and I used to play that we called Silver Ivy and believed was magical for the green leaves glistening silver in the sun. Of course, most of the leaves have thorns, but isn't that one of nature's lessons? I read in this art book that I can't remember the name of, that the uninterrupted gaze is gone. That we will never experience what it is to look upon a landscape that has not been stamped by humans. And whether or not this is true, it has a certain resonance. But the section that I most wanted to share with you is from Riordan's book, Battle of the Labyrinth. I have been devouring the Percy Jackson books. This satyr character, Grover, is searching for the missing god of the wild, Pan. He watched us as we approached, his eyes as blue as the sky. His curly hair was white, and so was his pointed beard. Even the goat fur on his legs was frosted with gray. His horns were enormous, glossy brown and curved. Around his neck hung a set of reed pipes. Grover fell to his knees in front of the bed.
Grover, my dear brave satyr, I have waited a very long time for you.
I got lost, Grover apologized. Pan laughed. It was a wonderful sound, like the first breeze of springtime, filling the whole cavern with hope. Still, Pan looked tired. His whole form shimmered as if he were made of mist.
I have slept many eons, the god said forlornly. My dreams have been dark. I wake fitfully, and each time my waking is shorter. Now we near the end.
What? Grover cried. But no, gods can't die.
They can fade, Pan said. When everything they stood for is gone, when they cease to have power and their sacred places disappear, the wild, my dear Grover, is so small now, so shattered that no god can save it. My realm is gone. You must tell the satyrs and the dryads and the spirits of nature that the great god Pan is dead. Tell them of my passing, because they must stop waiting for me to save them. I cannot. The only salvation you must make yourself. You must carry on my spirit. It can no longer be carried by a god. It must be taken up by all of you. Pan looked straight at me with his clear blue eyes, and I realized he wasn't just talking about the satyrs. He meant half-bloods too, and humans. Everyone. My name, Pan. Originally it meant rustic, but over the years it has come to mean all. The spirit of the wild must pass to all of you now. You must tell each one you meet. If you would find Pan, take up Pan's spirit. Remake the wild a little at a time, each in your own corner of the world. You cannot wait for anyone else, even a god, to do that for you.
Grover wiped his eyes. Then slowly he stood.
I've spent my whole life looking for you. Now, I release you. Pan smiled. Thank you, my dear satyr, my final blessing. He closed his eyes and the god dissolved. White mist divided into wisps of energy. A curl of smoke went straight into my mouth and Grover's and the others. But I think a little more of it went into Grover. He took a deep breath. He looked older and sadder. We should go now, he said, and tell them the great god Pan is dead.
And this section made me cry like a baby, because more than any of the other sad things that happen in these books, this is true. Literally, metaphorically, and I'm afraid that we don't care enough about saving the wild. And then when we do, the national parks, which I am beyond grateful exist, and no president should ever consider getting rid of or drilling in, we may be literally loving them to death through overuse. Link to the article in the description. In this book series that I used to be really into, starting with Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, the humans live in cities and aren't allowed to touch the wild spaces because they learned from the example of previous generations of humans they call the Rusties, us, that humans are not to be trusted with nature. My God, do we destroy everything we touch? My plant, Sid the squash, here to save us from the darkness of my sadness. He's been inside because it's been freezing for the last week, and he's literally climbing the walls. But there's no, like, root tendrils, so I don't think he's actually hurting the wood. Say hello, Sid. Wave. Wave for the camera. Say hello to all the nice people watching you. No? No? Okay. So the farmer who very kindly gave me the little tiny sprouted squash that has become Sid told me that it's going to be like 60 feet by the middle of the summer, and we're going to be able to eat a lot of squashes. I'm not even sure if I like this kind of squash, but I like Sid, so we'll get along.